This is Gaurav Sharma. Today we're going to be exploring Google Cloud Platform and what it means to a network engineer and a security engineer like myself. We have experience with regular technology, the devices, hardware devices, software and all, but not so much with cloud. So we're going to be exploring Google Cloud Platform and see what the options are. And by no means I'm saying that I'm an expert at it. I'm also trying to learn it, so it'd be a mutual benefit for us to kind of explore it together. Because the best way to understand something is trying to explain it to someone. Now, this is where the Google Cloud Platform lands you when you go to console.cloud.google, and by default, when you sign up, you get a $300 credit, which I believe is awesome because then you're able to explore different options, what the dashboard looks like for free. You don't have to pay anything for it. At the same time, when you come to the dashboard, it could look overwhelming, right? Because it brings you here. You see this hamburger over here. It's the navigation menu. But if you go to the dashboard, this is what you see, right? Gives you an idea about the project info, the app engine you've got. If you got apps running on your GCP, it will give you a data about that. Compute engine, you've got some instances running in your compute in your environment. It will give you an overview of that. Information about monitoring, billing. Billing. I'm only using the $300 credit, so that's great that it's zero here. But eventually, we'll upgrade it to test it more. So here, the dashboard looks a little overwhelming, a little confusing. Uh, this is says project info, and what project is when you come to Google Cloud. If you wanna, it's a division or a entity or group which uses users, firewall rules, and you tell that project to you how to communicate with Google services. In your organization, you can have multiple projects, right? And have multiple projects talk to each other, or you keep them separate, or however you want to plan your cloud deployment, right? And when you come to, I like to call it hamburger, you come to this navigation menu here, and I've got a bunch of stuff pinned here, some things that are uh, off the bat you would like to know more about it, right? So as we know that the cloud itself is built on four pillars, right? Networking, compute, storage, and database. So here I've tried to include the compute engine, the storage, and the app engine here, Kubernetes, BigQuery, and SQL. And if you scroll down on the left side, you will see there is just so much stuff here that um, obviously it's overwhelming because if you're looking at it for the first time, there's just so much options to you don't even know where to start with, right? But yeah, if you see here, just all the way, and it's cool, right? It's integrates with partner solution as well, and Google Cloud runs 100% on APIs, right? How they're talking to each other, it's all API based, so which gives it a lot more flexibility, in my opinion. And let's just explore some of the things here. So in the cloud, in the compute engine, you can create VM instances. So let's see, I already got like some instances created here. So if I from the dashboard itself, where it shows resources, if you want to see what you got going on this environment, you can just check it from here, and it will just direct you to the compute engine dashboard. So I just clicked on it, and it shows me that I got to. I was trying to play around with the app here and try to create a front end and back end of an app. So for that, I use 2 instances. It's like how you would deploy any solution for your um, like for an application. You would have like a 2-tier application. You'll have front end that has where it has all the applications, and the back end where you have all the database stuff running, right? So I created these, but then we can get into these later. But just to show you the where you can create instances. If you want to create an instance, just click on Create Instance. Here it will show you. You have to put the name of it, any tags that are specific and local to you. You can use those. Select a region for it, and the purpose, general purpose, right? So, what kind of machine would you like to use, right? Yeah, and here, that I think this is an important part, because now based on your requirement, you can select the type of machine you want, right? So for the testing purpose, I'm just using the E2 Micro, but you see the options here, right? So the pricing is different for all of these, but to kind of give you an idea of, it goes up to level of 32 CPUs, 32 GB memory, but this is for high CPU and this is for high memory. Based on what your requirement looks like, you can select those. And then if you talk about memory optimized, obviously these are big machines, and obviously the corresponding cost to them is also, they're also not cheap, right? As you can see, it comes to 160 CPUs, virtual CPUs, and 3.75 terabyte of memory. So that's a lot, right? But if you were to move your whole data center into cloud, I believe this is what they use for like servers they're like big servers serving a lot of applications and stuff. So it depends, right? And the disk type that you use, from here you can change what kind of disk type would you like, right? I use Ubuntu, but there's a bunch of options that you can choose from, and then you can just select it and deploy it. But here in the firewall rule, when you're creating an instance, this is just the beginning of it. When we talk about VPCs, we can say about how we set the networking for those. But over here, if you want to allow HTTP or HTTPS access to it, you can select it from here, right? You know what? Let's just actually make one. I'm gonna test VM, and I'm gonna select the cheapest option that's there. I'm gonna choose Ubuntu, latest. I'll just use the 18.4. I'm not gonna touch this type, but it's selected from here. And here you can specify the access, like how, when the API is access to this, how you want to limit it, or you can customize it, right? But over here, I'm just gonna allow HTTP and HTTPS access to it, and I'm gonna create it. So everything is built in a project, right? Here I didn't show you that, but yeah, the first thing you would do is to create a project before you come into any of these applications or anything that you would want to create. Everything needs to be associated with the project. I already had a couple projects here, so I did not create one, but while it's coming up. Okay, now it's coming. Now it is here. You can see it's already got a default IP address, internal IP address, external IP addresses, and we can SSH to it as well. And just to give you an example of how to create a VM. And we'll put it all together in context when we start talking about how to use these VMs with regards to in applications. When we deploy the application, what kind of instances are we using and stuff like that. But this is just to kind of give you an idea of how the what kind of stuff the compute engine offers, right? So in here, you see virtual machines, storage, instance group. Now you can club them together. You can do patch management, and you can specify zones and all. It just gets too deeper into it. I haven't read about all that yet. But just to know, if you want to run compute engines like VMs and stuff, this is where you come, right? And then talking about VPC network. Now, if you want to create a VPC network, for example, if you're migrating some servers that are sitting in your LAN to cloud, you will create a VPC network, similar VPC network. Let's try to create one here real quick. You're gonna name it something. Test VPC. See. It just takes lowercase. It wouldn't take uppercase. I don't know why, but yeah, maybe it's got something to do with the programming and how it understands and the names here. Subnet creation mode is custom here. You can name, so you can define the subnets here. Say local. You specify a region. So when you say for example, I selected US West 4. And then I can give them a region here, 192 and 68. .10.0, I think, because I don't know if it takes. Okay, use enter the. Okay, I would say 2.1. I don't know. Let's see. What is that? Okay, so we have to put slash. I forgot that. Okay, 192.168.2.0 slash 2.1 slash 24. All right. Okay, there you go. Private Google access. Turning on VPC flow. The flow. This is for logging and stuff. And MTU size here, and if you want to add additional IP ranges, you can do those, and just click on done. And the coolest part, if you see here, is the equivalent command line. So if you were to use it for automation or anything, you're using it for CI/CD or trying to do some sort of orchestration using Terraform or any Jenkins, Terraform, or anything like that, you can take the command line equivalent of the settings that we just did from here, and I think it's a great thing, because everything is going to be automated eventually. So if your developers want to use something like this, you can just copy it right from here itself and use it. Okay, just all right. So we created a VPC network, test VPC, and still working on it. And as you can see here, there are like a bunch of default regions here, and that you can utilize. It shows the IP address ranges here with the gateways, their default gateways are. And as you can see over here, this is the notification tab. Kind of shows everything that that you're doing. what you're creating, and just a notification tab. And we just created our VPC network. See here, it's in US Class 3, with the name local. This is its range. Default, it just took the 2.1 as its default gateway. You obviously can change those. External IP addresses, if you want to assign a specific IP address to your VMs, you're able to reserve some, or because every time there's, it's not static, right? But if you want to make it static, you can just reserve them from here. Or you can bring your own IP and assign it. We're not going to use that right now. And here, this is firewall. I'm a network security architect. I love security and firewalls. So this is my bread and butter. So this is interesting. Create a firewall rule. Okay, so now here you can specify things like typical firewall. This is, if you think about it, this is not your layer 7 kind of firewall, which would look at the application and stuff. It's just talking about you're going to name something, test firewall, and network. Which network are you going to be using, right? So let's say you're going to use test. We're going to create a firewall on test VPC. Direction, ingress, egress, you can specify those. Action on match is you can specify the target. Are you looking at specific tags? Are you talking about the whole network? Then you specify the account that you're targeting. You can specify the target, more so like a destination in our typical firewall language, and all the tags if you're using those, and then you're specifying the source. You're specifying the tags and then the ranges as well, like from where, if it's an ingress traffic, from where the traffic should be coming to the VPC network, and then you will allow specific things, right? I just want to allow TCP something, right? Port 80 or 8080, something like that. Other protocols, you can use all those. And the best thing, like I said, right, the command line, this is what is the equivalent command line commands for what we just created, which you can use for your automation stuff. You're going to create it. What's that? Source tags. Oh, I don't know if we had a specified target. Okay. All right. Source, let's just say 0.0.0.0/0. Is it going to take that? Yeah, it means from anything. Anything coming from outside to inside to this network. Just allow TCP port 80 and 8080, and just create it. We just created our test firewall rule policy, in which the network is specified to be a test VPC, and then you can see if it's being used or not with the hit counts and stuff for logging. And moving on, the route. So if you want to like specify a route, you can create a route from here. The network, what kind of, so if you want to do like a test VPC and say going to outside. What is the default route, right? You need to specify an internet gateway. You want to specify a tunnel because you want to send the traffic through tunnel, or however you want to do it, right? So you can specify all of that. Test route, and the equivalent command line commands can be seen from here. We're going to be using default internet gateway. What it is automatic here. I'm going to create that. And okay, now it's created. So this is all dummy stuff. So I don't expect it to be working because this is all dummy. The IP addresses, I'm not using them, or just to kind of show and actually explore them. Create connections, right? This is where network peering lets you connect two VPCs, right? So if you want to have two VPCs talking to each other, think of your network where you have two networks or two LAN or two departments want to talk to each other, and they're sitting in different VPCs. You can create that connection from here. You'll need the following information, right? So if you're running a VPC in another project, right? So if it's not only within the project, but if you want to connect a VPC running in your project to VPC running into another project, you can select that. So right now we don't have a VPC in any other project, but you get an idea, right? You can do shared VPC as well. Is only available for projects within an organization. So, okay, so you can use multiple instances can use the same VPC, but it should be within the same project, is what I make of it. Let's see what we have here. Serverlessvpc Access. So it allows cloud function and app engine apps to access resources using those resources private IP address. I think that's great. Basically means that it's like the IP addresses, local IP addresses would be understandable to the apps that or APIs that you'll be using. So I'm just going to enable it. We're not going to be using it right now. Maybe in the next video or something, we'll try to explore these. But I go back. Now that we understand how we create instances, VPC network, so that we can connect those. And yeah, one more thing I wanted to show you guys about Cloud Shell. So this is a Linux-based inbuilt terminal. So you're able to run commands from here itself, right? So right now, by default, it picked test project, right? So if I were to run, you can run multiple commands on it, right? So Google Cloud, as you can see here. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so it won't take the regular question mark. Yeah, let's just do Google Cloud help. So if you want to do say manages commands for so this is all Okay, yeah. So this is kind of gives you an idea of what things that you can do using the Google Cloud commands of what you're doing um, through the GUI. You're also able to do stuff from here. So if you do Google Cloud help, it will show you all the commands that are available. You can do from here and just take advantage of it. When you're running an app or something like that, it comes in handy. Um, all right, guys. I think this was our first session, and hopefully, this was helpful for you guys. And we'll talk more on next video. Thank you.